Hey everyone, my name is Kyle, and welcome to my first Sundays with Me video. I guess that's what I'm calling them. So, welcome. I want to do these every week to switch it up from the music, just to show people that there's someone behind the music. And I also realize that consistency is key to changing the world, changing your life. So, I just felt like this would be a good thing to start doing for myself, for my mental health, to air things that I've been thinking about, and also to talk to people without necessarily having to have the awkward conversation about why I feel the way I feel in the moment. And I have a few things I want to talk about every Sunday. So I guess the first thing I want to do every Sunday is I want to start by reading a quote. And this time, the quote is coming from a book I read. You probably heard of it. It's called A Promised Land by Barack Obama. And here's a section from the book. I'm sorry, I'm listening to the wall creaking. Um, the guide then invited us upstairs to see Gandhi's private quarters. Taking off our shoes, we entered a simple room with a floor of smooth, patterned tile, its terrace doors open to admit a slight breeze and a pale, hazy light. I stared at the Spartan floor, bed, and pillow, the collection of spinning wheels, the old-fashioned phone, and low wooden writing desk, trying to imagine Gandhi present in the room. A slight, brown-skinned man in a plain cotton dhoti, his legs folded under him, composing a letter to the British Viceroy or charting the next phase of the Salt March. And in that moment I had the strongest wish to sit beside him and talk, to ask him where he'd found the strength and imagination to do so much with so very little, to ask how he'd recovered from disappointment. I chose that quote today because, coming from Barack Obama, so that's a passage from his book, A Promised Land. That's the first volume of what's going to be 2 volumes, his memoir, basically recapping his presidency. I chose that section to read because it inspires me to sit down and think about Obama walking around Gandhi's old quarters, touring the quarters, and thinking about how Gandhi got through self-doubt. Somebody like Obama, who every time I watch a video of him, every time I look at a podcast of him, anything like that, he's always talking about hope, the American dream, living up to our ideals. Obama is on another level of hope. He's always very consistent, always very calm and composed. And I've often wondered, a big reason why I even picked this book up was because I wanted to read about how he might have gotten through a situation like Osama bin Laden's, the operation that ended up taking Osama bin Laden out. I wondered how he gets through these things mentally, the pressure, the tension, the responsibility, and continues to remain hopeful. And apparently a lot of other people have asked him that too, because he talks about that a lot in the book. And the whole yes we can, hope, everybody knows that that's synonymous with Obama. And it's still very inspiring to me to see that he has his heroes, and he wonders about self-doubt, and he wonders how he's going to get through certain situations, and if he has enough composure, enough will, enough drive, enough sturdiness to remain stable in times of pressure. And I don't even know where I want to go with that beyond that. That alone is inspiring to me, just picturing Obama, somebody who has accomplished, doubting himself. Because I've doubted myself many times. And I've accomplished, right? Like I've done things that I'm proud of in my life, but I do have those self-doubts, and they never stop. I don't know that they ever stop, but that's a healthy thing, right? Like, the whole thing is that what makes you strong is getting through the self-doubt. And I just thought that quote was really powerful for Obama to just flat out admit. And he also goes into self-doubt a lot in the book. Just admit, this is hard. Life is hard. And Obama is just someone who powers through and never loses hope. And I aspire to be like that. So from that quote, I want to go into the other books I'm reading. So, second order of business, books I'm reading right now. I'm reading a book called you may have heard of it. It's called Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. It's a very popular book. I have not gotten through the prologue or the preface, and I'm going to change that. Hopefully doing these every Sunday will help me maintain my reading schedule as well, because I really wanted to read this book. I picked it up because obviously I heard a lot about it, but I'm just very excited to read it. And then I also have another book that I want to start reading right after it. I already have that one. My goal is to just read a lot this year. My goal was 12, one book for every month of the year, but that is probably not going to happen. So because Obama's book was just very extensive and it was very impactful, and I took my time reading it, so I'm fine with that if I don't get 12 books read this year. But I do want to get more than the amount that I've read. I've read 2 so far this year. That's not a ton, but if you count in my textbooks and my class notes and things like that, I guess I've read. Okay, so my phone storage just went to 0 while I was recording, so picking up where I left off, if you count in my class notes and my textbooks, as I was saying, I've probably read like 10 books this year, so that's happening. And then okay, so topic I've been pondering. So we went through the quote, we went through books I'm reading. Now for the topic I've been pondering, I wrote bipartisanship. And bipartisanship is a topic that I have been pondering a lot because of the political climate we're living through. I don't ever want to come off as, I don't want you to know my political affiliation, because it's just not important. It's just not. Like, self-identifying as this or that thing, when I just don't have to, I just don't want to, you know. And bipartisanship has been on my mind because after I read Obama's book and the stuff that I be seeing on social media, sometimes it's just disappointing sometimes, if I'm being frank, because there's so much of a polarized political climate right now that some people dislike other people based on those labels: Republican, Democrat, Libertarian. And it's honestly amazing to me how far we've gone down that rabbit hole, that people will dislike somebody because they disagree about the way we can make the country better. That's so weird. We're on this we're on the same side. It's just so odd to me that we've gone so far down that rabbit hole that we have to really, either you stick to your guns and you side with your political party, or you become alienated, you become shunned, sometimes by family members, and that's just very weird to me. So I was thinking about that. I've been thinking about that a lot recently, and I don't know, I don't feel like I am able to give advice. I'm 21. I don't really know a lot about the nuances of politics. I don't want to be a politician. I didn't major in political science, but I do know that the system is designed so that we come out on the other side better every time. Or at least that's how America, at its most basic level, at a fundamental level, is designed so that we keep coming out better and better and better. And in my opinion, the further we stray from that, the worse off we're all going to be. But also, conversely, not everybody has to be right all the time. So as we continue going down this rabbit hole, may God forbid we continue any further, maybe people will start listening to other people more. As we climb out of that rabbit hole, I'll say, of just this super polarized political climate, I think that we have to remember that we're all trying to make the country better. Anybody who's not just going by the status quo because it's the status quo, they're putting in the effort to make the country better, that they believe that their ideas can make the country better. And I feel like as soon as everybody shies away from that and they sort of side with whatever party just because that's the quote unquote right thing to do in their mind, we lost. Bipartisanship. All right, so Last two things. One new song I found, Maybe Someday by The Cure. It's on their album Blood Flowers. I listened to that album in the car. That album is phenomenal. I know it got mixed reviews when it came out, but Maybe Someday by The Cure, I love that song now. I've been listening to it recently. I'm learning more about that song and the lyrics. So, I don't know exactly what the song lyrics are and stuff like that, but you listen to it more and more, you start to understand more about the song. So I'm just saying that I like that song now. Maybe Someday by The Cure. And then one new movie I found. Okay, so I did just watch There Will Be Blood. There Will Be Blood is a phenomenal movie. Everything everybody says about Daniel Day-Lewis is true, if they're saying positive things about his acting abilities. And that movie is just great. It's downright poetic. I just watched that recently, and it is just such a poetic movie. I would say give that movie a try. And anything else? So I'm listening to Mark Maron's podcast a lot. I just listened to Obama's podcast session with... Oh, I'm listening to that now. I listened to the Jake Gyllenhaal one, and I listened to the one with Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, and another one, a couple of them. And I'm listening to Mark Maron's podcast in the car pretty frequently now. So I'm trying to get into other podcasts. So that's happening. And then I'm looking forward to Loki. That's about to come out. And I'm going to probably binge watch that as soon as it comes out. I don't know if it's out. And then A Quiet Place Part 2, I just learned that that's out. So I'm excited. I got a pretty big week this week. I hope everybody is doing well. Hope you're doing well. I hope you find all the success that you want this week, and hope to see you next week for the next Sundays with me. And cool. I'll be back with another quote, and hopefully I'll have read more of Eat, Pray, Love. I'm trying to read the next chapter, the first chapter of the book, and I'll come back and I want to talk about the chapter I read. So see you then. Hope you have a great week.